I had Dr. So on the podcast a while back, and she has this, like, she brings up the point of gender expression being fluid, right? Like, that's a spectrum. Like, the way that we express our gender is a spectrum. Gender itself is not a spectrum. So it's almost like we're moving backwards from the 90s where we used to say if you are a more masculine woman, then that's totally fine. And if you're a more feminine man, that's totally fine. Like, you're allowed to express yourself how you'd like, but like you're still a man and you're still a woman. And it almost seems to be like more prejudice to be like, well, if you are a girl and you like to roll in the mud and play sports and wrestle, then you actually are a boy and you're in the wrong body. Like, to me, that's way more bigoted than just saying, "No, you can be both." Like, no one is telling you you have to be in a box, and we've kinda gone back to a place where society is trying to put you in a box.
I completely agree. And again, from a therapeutic or even a philosophical point of view, none of us know what it's like to live as another person. We can only ever know what it's like to be inside our own head and our own body. So this idea that a young girl might know what it feels like to be a boy is ludicrous, because they never have been a boy. What they know is what they see boys doing, and what we tend to associate with boys, which tends to be, as we say, kind of stereotypical ideas of what is masculine or feminine. But none of us know what it's like to be in any other body other than our own. So when people come out and say, "I just knew from such a young age that I was trapped in the wrong body," it's not possible.
Mhm. No, and then I always kinda, like, get to more of, like, a spiritual take, which is, and I mean, you'd have to figure out, like, do you believe in God? All of these other questions, which for the answer for me is yes. So I don't believe, I think that everything happens for a reason, and I think that you're presented with challenges in life that you are meant to overcome and learn from, and I don't necessarily think that the answer to that problem of, like, vast discomfort in your body is to start chopping it up, right? Like, that's an extreme. So again, if you're an adult, absolutely do what you want. Like, I don't believe in people getting in the way of that, but I think when it comes to kids, like, you're kind of sending the wrong message. Like, you're like, "Okay, we're gonna just, like, take a sledgehammer to this problem instead of delicately trying to navigate it together." Like, how can I make you feel at peace with your body? How can I make you feel at peace in general? Not, "Let's use this new technology because we don't really understand." Like, when Buck was sharing his story, he was the first, I believe, the first medical, like, full medical transition from female to male, and because it was so new, they didn't understand really all of the potential risks and dangers and consequences, so he actually almost died during the process. So that's why he's like, "You can't lie about what you are," because if I had gone in with all of this stomach cramping and I was like, "I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man," well, they're not gonna know that there's a cervix up there that's quite literally atrophying and almost killed me. So, again, like, we are in this place where we're operating within reality, and you can't completely deny that because it's going to, at the end of the day, like, probably be a disservice to yourself and others. But to sit there and it's like, this is such, like, a delicate topic to navigate. It's like, you don't wanna call people crazy, but there are certain fundamental truths, right? Like, there is male and female in biology, that exists. Um, and you can have all of the surgeries, and that's still not changing anything. And then it's like you pump yourself up with these hormones, and I mean, I don't take testosterone or anything like that, but I've heard that taking testosterone, especially as a woman, can make you feel more confident, it can get rid of anxiety. So how do you know that it's just not like a hormone imbalance? Like, are we doing an intake of a baseline hormone, the baseline of the hormones for these young individuals coming in? Because what if their T is super low? And what if they just need a tiny bit to just get them back to, like, a regular homeostasis? Instead, we're putting in an unnatural amount into a female body. We're like, "Well, we hope this doesn't give you cancer later."
Yeah, I mean the risks are huge, and there might be a social element as well, a kind of fake it till you make it. Because if you've been, particularly as a child, if you've been saying for many years, I need this, I want this, this is who I am, this is the only thing that will make me feel better, and then you kind of come up the other end of having hormones and surgery, and you wake up. And I've spoken to detransitioners about this, but you wake up in the hospital and you think, what the fuck have I just done? Uh,
Mhm.
for many, I think it would be quite difficult to row back from that, because you'd lose a huge amount of face, and also these young people are having to contend with the fact that they made the decision to go ahead with it, and the kind of shame that might be associated with that. So it's so complicated. But I agree with you generally. I mean, not even just from a kind of spiritual point of view, but again, in terms of looking at what is in people's best interest. As a therapist, you want to work towards what is going to be, the least invasive, the least risky option for the client in front of you.